And we are live, guys. We are live. Um, Welcome to Solution Podcast. It's been a minute, guys. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. And today we're going to be talking about Billy Carson. No more lies. Billy Carson has recently been exposed, and I am here with my co-host Jean-Michel. Jean-Michel, it's good to see you, bro. It's been a minute. How have you
It
been?
has been, bro. I'm good. How you been?
I'm still alive, bro. That's all I ask from God. Still alive, still here. You know what I mean? Can't ask for more than that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
I'm
real.
great. I'm great. Can't complain.
Mm.
Um, Billy Carson. First of all, bro, Billy Carson. How did you come across this guy?
You know what? I saw him on Joe Rogan podcast, but I didn't pay much attention to what he was saying. And then I saw that he was on the PB, is it PB, yeah,
PDB
PB,
or PD or something like that. Yeah.
PDB, yeah. And then I noticed. I know he was into ancient knowledge and ancient mysteries and stuff like that.
Good evening,
But I
Rashid. Good
didn't.
evening. Good evening.
Even Rashid, yes, Rashid. But I'll be honest, I wasn't that familiar with him.
Mm.
I wasn't that familiar. I have got familiar with him since then, but you know,
Yeah, I would say I've got the
not that
same
familiar.
story. A lot of people don't seem to know much about Billy Carson, to be honest with you. Billy Carson, I used to see videos here and there on TikTok. That's
Mm.
what I used to see from him, and usually he would always be talking about Christianity. I don't know why. It was always, you know, Jesus wasn't crucified, or Jesus was apparently he went to Egypt and then he traveled the world and he went to visit all these new. And I used to think, oh, this is not.
Mm.
And I always wanted to react to him, and I was gonna come around to it eventually, but I didn't think it was that big of a deal. But only as of recent, when he recently got exposed, is that's when I started finding out so much about him. I mean, he's got a huge following, and he's actually quite big. Like you said, he's been on Joe Rogan recently, and I thought, wow, okay, he is something to contend with. He is big in the algorithm, so to speak. So I thought to myself,
Mm.
all right. And so when I saw this video of him being exposed, I was thinking to myself, how come it's only happening now? why
Yeah.
why hasn't someone kind of like said to him, let's have this debate? You've been talking nonsense for a long time. Let's have this debate. But apparently this is his first debate, like major debate that he's actually, so he usually just goes and does these interviews and spews these things out, and no one really like challenges him when he goes to these interviews. But now that he's had a real debate, and now we actually can see that he doesn't actually know much of what he's talking about. Now we've got some videos to react, guys. Which one should we start with, bro?
You know what? I think we should head straight to the debate and just get.
Yes.
We can get good. Let it go 5-10 minutes in, and then we'll break down some of the. Yeah,
All right.
I'll tell you when to pause and when to load up the next one because I've got it all
Okay.
planned out in my
Okay.
mind.
Because it was a lot of videos to watch. I'll be honest with you.
Mhm.
I didn't get through
Yeah.
all of them, but I got through quite a bit. So we've got this one here. Just hold on a second for me, bro. Just loading it up, loading it up, loading it up. Billy Carson, the grift is over. Madness, madness. All right, here's the debate. I want to jump straight into when they start talking.
Everyone.
Hold on, did you manage to watch the live as well?
Yeah, I did. I did watch the live.
You
Yeah, I
know his
did.
personal life. You know when he went
N-
live, and I watched quite a bit of that. I watched.
No, oh no, I didn't actually go. I didn't watch that.
Oh, bro, you should have
With the
watched that,
explaining,
bro.
with the
You should have watched that.
explaining.
Yeah, he was basically start talking about how he got sick, how he wasn't well, like, how the whole thing was a setup, and these were his close friends. The one that's actually doing the podcast with him, I think his name is Mark or something like that. Anyways, apparently that guy lives like they live in a gated community, and this guy lives like 5 minutes from him. He can just walk 5 minutes. And then that's the
What
guy
does that
that
have
he
to do with anything?
when he went to that person's house.
Okay,
That's the house that he went to. Okay, and apparently they were
Oh,
all they're all close friends and
okay.
all of that. And
All
he's
right.
talking about how he set him up, and I'm not. And the entire time I'm thinking to myself, what has that got to do with anything? It's like,
Oh, so he didn't go to Wes Huff's house. He went to this guy's house here. Okay, that makes sense now.
yeah. So because they
Yeah.
all friends apparently, even that other guy, that other video that you showed me of
Hmm.
the other guy who's exposing him, right? He they used to be friends as well. That other guy used to be not necessarily part of the circle or the main circle, but he used to work with them and all of that type of stuff. And I think his friends were tired of his bullshit or something like that, and then decided to set him up with an actual scholar just to put him to shame. And he kept talking about that, and I was like, what has this got to do with anything? Because I'm interested in the claims that you make. I'm not interested about your little friends or whatever. But he kept talking a lot about that. But here's the video.
And I'm trying to move this stuff. And yeah, they'll do an awesome job.
1 second.
I think it's on his end.
And if you've got any time,
yeah,
I'm just trying to figure out, like, what is the name of this thing you're using, this portal?
it's I want to actually press. It's I think it's all through Ecamm.
Ecamm. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so they have their own link. And
I say we jump to
this
about
up
4
for
minutes
different
in.
guests. You
4
can make
minutes in.
when Cara was here through
4
like
minutes
Eric
in, yeah.
Thomas. We're just doing the show, waiting. I don't believe I know
Yeah.
God is within me too.
whatever.
It's-
Whatever.
Yeah, that guy was so annoying.
PhD and athlete wannabe. I like how you threw that in the bio right there. And Wesley, my man, I think it would be great to. I know you guys were both recently in Egypt. There's tons that I'm in.
This guy
Sinai Bible. Jesus wasn't crucified in that Bible. That Bible
Here you
predates
go.
the King
Let's
James
start
version
here.
of the Bible, and the text there
Hold on,
actually
you
is about
heard him
12
clear,
to 14
yeah? He said Jesus wasn't crucified.
videos, and if you listen to the podcast,
Because, bro, when I heard his thing, his live, he was talking about how he didn't necessarily say that Jesus was crucified. That
Okay,
Jesus
well
was,
then I'm glad you said that. Let's pause now.
yeah.
And can you load it the video that I sent you?
Yeah, I think is
There's
it
one I
the 8
sent
minute
you.
one? The 8 minute one.
It's called Never Happened. It started Never Happened.
Yeah,
It's
never
his
happened.
Yeah, let's just show that one because I knew he was
Yeah.
going to try and wriggle out of it. So I'm glad I've got
Bro,
this video.
When you actually watch the link, sorry, not the link, the video that he did, he tried to justify by saying, well, I didn't exactly say, and I was thinking, bro,
Okay, so let's just watch this. Yeah, let's watch this video then and see what he actually said.
This never happened. Guys, bear with me. I got loads of videos here, guys. Just those are videos here. Those are videos here. Those are videos. I'll see the video. You did send it to me because I just finished watching it.
That's all right. I could put it in the chat.
You can put it in the chat, yeah.
Yeah.
I just watching it. Man. How come it's not here? Oh, I think it only allows certain videos or certain.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Well, actually, I think I might be able to share myself. Give me a minute. Let me see if I can share. I might be able to share. I think I might be able to share.
You should be able to.
Okay. Yeah, I can.
You can, yeah. Okay, that
Yeah.
makes it easy. All right, you got it there?
Yeah.
I'll start sharing it to you. I can't see it yet, so I can put it on the screen. Are you sharing it?
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Can you see that? Is that sharing? Am I sharing it?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Boom.
So I'll play it now. Is there sound?
They
Nah.
don't have to date
Yeah.
to the resurrection. He is risen. Okay, let's talk for a minute. So it's supposed to be on the third day that he rose. They don't have the date that Jesus died. They got some hypothetical dates online, right? They got some hypothetical dates, and their scholars are going back and forth and arguing. Every year they're arguing when it could be this date, that date, this time, this time. They're coming up with hypotheses and guesses because there's no written text that says anything about it. It's so strange to me how they were able to write down every word that Jesus ever said as he was saying it, and everything he ever did, and everything he did, and everything that one did, and all the text and all the scripture, with the biggest impact, the biggest day in the history of their own lives would be the day that he was crucified, and nobody wrote it down. Nobody said, you know what, we better take note of this one. Do you know why they didn't take note of it? Because he didn't die. That's why. If you look at the Gospel of Barnabas,
remember that?
if you read the
Remember this
Gospel of
carefully. Remember
Barnabas,
that's the
you
first book, yeah?
discover that Jesus never died on the cross.
So
I think
pause
you have
that.
to pause-
Let's pause.
You have
If
to pause
you
it.
read the Sinai Bible, now the Sinai Bible has a couple of names. There's a secondary name to the Sinai Bible.
Right. So what's interesting, it's very important that you listen to what he's saying here because he gives us his sources, okay?
Mm.
So the first source is the book of Barnabas. Remember that for this debate. Remember that. Take a note of that. The first source is the book of Barnabas. I'll keep it going on. He gives another source. Look at the next source now.
And the
It's
Sinai
called the
Bible.
Codex Sinaiticus. Codex Sinaiticus, also known as the Sinai Bible. It's the oldest man.
Okay, so then that's the second source. So remember, he said that these are the two sources that prove that Jesus didn't. Well, he said the book of Barnabas says he lived on, and this Kodak I can't pronounce the other word, Sinicus or Signicus.
Sinaiticus.
He's saying
But
that
he
somehow
calls
within that text.
Yeah,
So
sorry. He
it's
calls it
important
the Sinai Bible, but it's said the correct way of saying it is Sinaiticus text.
Okay.
Sinaiticus text. Mm.
So this is what he says.
Manuscript of the Christian Bible, written in Greek in the middle of the 4th century. It contains the Old and New Testaments, as well as a large portion of the Septuagint, which is the Greek translation of the Old Testament. The Sinai Bible is significant because it includes corrections made by scholars and scribes to ensure that the manuscript accurately reflects the original manuscripts. Let me say that to you again. The Sinai Bible is significant because it includes corrections to ensure that the manuscript accurately reflects the original manuscripts. Interesting. You know that in the Harvard Seminary, they have a copy of the Book of Jesus' Wife. How come they're not teaching you that whole study? That's in America. They found this years and years ago. It's in the Harvard Seminary. The Book of Jesus' Wife, which means he got married, probably to Mary Magdalene, probably had kids, most likely. That would be the Merovingian bloodline, probably still walking the planet till this very day. Just spitting facts, guys and gals. I'm just giving you the knowledge. And everything that I'm saying, giving you sources simultaneously.
Okay, so I think we can stop there.
The arrogance.
He's giving us facts and knowledge. Okay, so I think we should go back to the debate now.
Back to the. Oh my days, this is embarrassing, bro.
Facts and knowledge. He's giving us
That-
facts and knowledge.
Do you know what? If he was a bit more humble, I would have kind of like felt a little bit sorry for him.
No, he's giving us facts and knowledge. So let's see what the facts and knowledge. Let's see
what the facts
out
and
now.
knowledge actually are. Where do these guys come from? Seriously, where do these guys come from? Jesus Christ is always an issue. All right, let's go and play this. No, not this one, not this one. Sorry, guys. It's been a while. Sorry, guys. Stop sharing this one here. I want this one here. I want a different video. And we're going to find out what the facts of knowledge actually are. Shout outs to everyone watching right now. We've got 13 guys watching. Shout outs to you. Welcome to the Solution Podcast, guys. I'm going to put the link as well in the chat. If you guys want to join in, feel free. Yeah, because it's over for this guy. But yeah, let's find out what the actual facts are. And here we go.
The statement is according to the Sinai Bible. Okay, according to the Sinai Bible, Jesus wasn't crucified in that Bible. That Bible predates the King James Version of the Bible, and the text there actually is about 12 to 14,000 differences between the Sinai Bible and the King James Version of the Bible, which came much later. And then also one of the things that were interesting is that they discovered the book of Jesus' wife, which is at the Harvard Seminary, which, according to some scholars, is a little controversial, but they claim that this is an accurate record that Jesus may have even been married, which then, adds more, if that's true, it adds more to the hypothesis that maybe he wasn't crucified. I just personally believe that Jesus was an amazing human being. I don't think that he was the Son of God in the sense that he's God, but that we're all gods. As he said, ye are gods, and that we're to do greater things than him. And I just personally believe that the return of the Christ is the return of the Christ consciousness. When we can all achieve a certain level of knowledge, wisdom, passion, understanding, empathy, love that he came to this planet with, get that in our mind and our consciousness, and we can act on that. Those incredible emotions and understanding, that the whole world is going to transform instantaneously. And I think that the second coming is the coming of the Christ consciousness to the planet, not a human being flying back to Earth to save people. That's just my personal understanding of how I perceived it over many, many years of going through this information and going through all this text.
And Wes, I'm gonna let you.
Can I pause it there, Nelson?
I mean, this is
Can I pause
everyone
it there?
listening to the show. I'm always like,
Okay, what I want to do quick, if you don't mind, I just want to share a video because what I want people to know is where he got that from. Okay, where did he get those kind of beliefs from in terms of Jesus? Yeah. So I'm gonna just quickly give people an idea of where this comes from. So I'm gonna play this video here. Just give me a second.
Where his views and his ideas,
I'm gonna break it down. This is part of it because he's mixing a lot of stuff together.
No. Yeah, it's never like everything from one source.
So here we go, guys. So listen to this.
All right, hold on. Let me just stop sharing what I'm sharing right now and put that up. Hold on a second, guys. This is some of the places that he gets his ideas from. Billy Carson, that is, guys.
Scholars such as N.T. Wright think it is a particularly troubling heresy. Rather than believing in a bodily resurrection of the dead, or a Jesus that actually lived and died and rose again as a human, Gnostics, they say, are disgusted by the material world and see Jesus more as a spiritual being. The Gnostic conception of the afterlife, therefore, is an incorporeal existence away from this dirty and corrupted planet. Outside of Christianity, Gnostics sometimes are painted as countercultural mavericks, fighting fighting against stodgy Orthodox doctrine. Gnostics even made front-page news back in 2006, when the newly discovered Gospel of Judas was first published in English. Like other so-called Gnostic Gospels, the Gospel of Judas pays special attention to secret knowledge. Unlike the Gospels where Judas Iscariot betrays Jesus, in the Gospel of Judas, Jesus and Judas share a secret conversation away from the other disciples. Only Judas knows the secret mission of Jesus, and all his other disciples, they're just deluded by a false god. But what really is Gnosticism when we cut through the hype from both sides of this discourse? And why has it played such a big deal in discussions of Christian orthodoxy and heresy to this day? Now, from the start, it is important to say that Gnosticism did not really exist. Well, by that I mean there wasn't a religion called Gnosticism in the same way that Christians and Jews called their religions Christianismos and Judaismos in antiquity. In other words, there was no church of Gnosticism. Of course, authors such as Plotinus and Irenaeus talk about people called Gnostics, or Gnostikoi for you Greek philologists out there. But Gnosticism as a term, as an ism, was invented by modern scholars to account for a family of writings, persons, and beliefs that all reflect a similar theme. So when we use the term Gnosticism, it is better to think of it as a school of thought, rather than a religion or a discrete, unified social group. So what did these Gnostikoi really think? Well, if you've watched any of my other videos, you won't be surprised to hear that it's complicated. You see, most of what we know about Gnostics comes from polemics, what we would call anti-Gnostic writings. It would sort of be like asking a Democrat to write an essay called "What is a Republican?" Rest assured, it would not be completely unbiased, with exaggerations and half-truths thrown in there throughout. So for example, a friendly neighborhood bishop by the name of Epiphanius of Salamis writes, "The Gnostics are a blasphemous assembly, full of enormous recklessness, and the filthy perversity of their beggarly obscenity truly pollutes the ears." Harsh words for sure, but he goes even further. According to Epiphanius, the Gnostics are a filthy and promiscuous bunch, holding orgies instead of church services, and eating babies instead of bread and wine for the Eucharist. And if you think eating babies can get even worse, it does. I'm just really interested in keeping this video blog PG-13. If you want the R-rated version, just go read Epiphanius. Okay, Epiphanius is an extreme example, but I hope it illustrates how difficult it is to reconstruct an ancient theology using writings written by guys that absolutely hated that theology. These accusations are obviously slander instead of historical portrait of the ancient Gnostics. I don't really think they were eating babies. A better way to find out about the ancient Gnostics is to read their own texts. We have a large collection of Gnostic texts called the Nag Hammadi Library, a collection of Christian texts discovered in Egypt in the 1940s, making it one of the most important archaeological discoveries of all time, along with the Dead Sea Scrolls. Comparing the Nag Hammadi Library with the polemics of the Church Fathers, scholars have been able to reconstruct a stereotypical Gnostic theology, what I call a list of Gnostic cliches for reasons that I'll get into later. The first Gnostic cliche is that they believed in a dualistic anthropology. This means that they sharply delineated between the material body and the spiritual realm. They valued the soul as something transcendent and harmonious, trapped within a dirty, corrupted body. The ideal afterlife, therefore, is for the soul to escape from this body and enter the spiritual realm. Since this world is so messed up and corrupted, this means that it must have been created by a messed up and corrupted God. Therefore, the second Gnostic cliche is that they believed in a dualistic theology, one that states that there are two main gods, one higher, perfect God called the monad, and a lower, inferior, almost evil God called the demiurge, the one that created this material reality. The Nag Hammadi text called the Apocryphon of John is probably the best example of this dualistic theology. The Apocryphon of John reinterprets the creation myth that we find in the book of Genesis. Instead of God being the supreme being that creates Adam and Eve, he is a jealous and lesser God that traps humanity on a corrupted planet, hiding the keys to divine knowledge in the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Jesus in this reinterpretation is a savior sent from the monad to save humanity from the demiurge. Right.
I'm going to pause there quickly, Nelson. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to quickly share this because I just want people to understand where Billy Carson is getting some of this stuff from. Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's important because you heard now what Gnostics believe. Okay, you heard what Gnostics believe.
Yep.
Okay, they believe in this whole idea that the God that we would believe in, the God of the Bible, is actually evil. No, he said that. He called it the demiurge. It's not. So the God, there's a God above that God who's good, but the God of this system of things is evil. Maybe that's what the Gnostics believe. So
Yeah.
that's what you just show you this video from our good friend again, just to get you an idea of where he's getting this stuff from.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on. Let me just add this to the stage.
All good?
Yeah, I'm sharing your screen now. Yeah.
Okay. So I should be able to.
Yeah, Gnostic Gospels, guys, are Gospels that came hundreds of years after Christianity became the main religion. And shout outs to Digital. Is it Sharkies? Yeah, shout outs to you, bro. But yeah, that's what Gnostic Gospels are. It's just Gospels that came hundreds of people that have written. It's almost like they're writing a different theology from the original theology that that Jesus Christ founded. So Gnostic Gospels are just people that have written what they wish, in a sense, it's what they wish Jesus would have said, or they tried to twist what Jesus basically said to mean something differently. You get people that do this every single day. They read what Jesus says and they try to interpret it in a different manner, in a different way, because they don't want to deal with the reality of what Jesus is actually saying. So when Jesus says you're going to go to hell, or hell exists, they try to say, oh, Jesus didn't really mean this. He meant They try to twist Jesus' words all the time because they don't want to be confronted. They don't want to deal with the reality of what Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
It's just a video, yeah?
So yes, I'm glad you did that. That's a good background, Nelson. So remember what we've heard about Gnostics, and listen to now what our good friend has to say here. Let's listen to this.
This king. We're going to find out. Do you understand what Christ is? Christ is you. We're all Christ. And until you understand that, you're going nowhere. We are all the Christ. Jesus never said he was coming back. He said the Christ would return. And by that, he meant the consciousness, the Christ consciousness, the understanding of wisdom and ascension knowledge, who comes back and returns in every single person's mind. And by that method, the return is us. We are the second coming. Until you understand that, you're going nowhere. Now, I'm going to read something for you guys real quick. This is important stuff because I want to establish what Christians believe. They believe in these attributes of God. There's these God attributes, which I believe exist, but not for the people in the Bible, not for the people being referenced in the Bible. But I believe these attributes are real. Let me make it clear. I'm not an atheist. I believe in a creator because I think that the quantum physics and quantum mechanics proves we're living in a creation.
Sorry, bro.
Now what I'm telling you, though, is these attributes have been given to the God of the Bible, which is actually God's plural.
Guys, he repeatedly, I just want to make one thing clear. He repeatedly says that he's not an atheist. Guys, I want to make something clear. He's not an atheist. To me, he is an atheist. Because I don't believe that creation can be characterized as God. I don't think that a tree can be a God. I don't think so. If you're calling something God is something that's outside of space, matter, and time. So for him to call anything, because he doesn't consider, for him to say I am God, or he is creation. So therefore, atheists also believe through the ideology of evolution. They also believe that I don't know if you guys have heard that atheists even have churches today. There are modern day atheist churches. Seriously, they all go into church now these days.
The thing with Nelson, so going back to the video about Gnosticism, remember he mentioned the monarch God and the demiurge God. So remember, in that philosophy, there is a God called the monarch, which is above the God of the God of the system of things. That's why look at the title of this video. But Carson explains how the God of the Bible is who? Satan. So literally, he's regurgitating what I said to you guys about this is Gnosticism. Part of what he says is Gnosticism. I just wanted to prove that before we went on with the debate.
Yeah.
This is the root of it. But I'm not going to play any more of this because I think we get the message now where he gets his. So part of it. There's another part of his ideology we're going to touch on next. but part of his ideology comes from this concept of Gnosticism. By the way, this is the stuff that's taught for whoever's listening. The stuff that we're coming across now, this Gnosticism and this idea that there's the God of this system of things is evil, and Lucifer, the God of light, is the good God, or there's another God above that. This is all the stuff that's taught in secret societies, by the way. The Knights Templars, the Rosicrucians, the Freemasons. He obviously has been involved in those type of secret societies, and that's where he probably got a lot of this knowledge from. I'm just putting it out there, because this stuff is not, he's not alone in thinking this by any means.
Is this what we call...
Most of the Freemasons think this.
Is this what we call esoteric knowledge?
Right, the Luciferian ideology. So what he's saying here is what is taught in secret societies.
But the thing is, let me ask you one question, bro. Does he believe in an actual, for example, personal entity or being, an entity that does live outside of space? Because I don't think he believes in that.
Okay, so we're gonna come on to that. So what I'm gonna stop sharing and let's move on with the debate.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to the debate. This is when he gets crushed. This guy, bro.
I want people to listen. There's a part of the debate where he talks about his creation theory, and that's what I want us to focus on.
Hold on, guys. Hold on. I'm just finding the video. I'm just finding it. Bear with me, guys. There you go.
Like, challenge everything. Learn to critically think and continue to come to your conclusions. Even with Jesus, I'm not personally even waiting on that he has to come back to. I already know like I said, that strength of God and consciousness is already, I can tap into that right now. So you don't have to wait for him to come back. For those that believe he does, to actually have that like next level of what that's supposed to mean. But Wes, go ahead on for what Billy was talking about. I think with a book in the Harvard Museum, and I heard something about Jesus's wife. Yeah.
Well, first let me say I think it's really cool to not just be in the room with you, Billy, but be able to interact with you, because I wish I could be there in person. Unfortunately, Toronto, Canada is a long way away from Florida. It's a little bit of a jaunt, but I really appreciate the fact that you seem to have investigated to a certain degree some of these facts. Do you mind if I ask a clarifying question?
Sure.
When you say the Sinai Bible, what are you referring to specifically?
It's the biblical text that was written. It made it into you can actually look it up on Amazon. It's a Bible called, I have a version at home. It's called the Sinai Bible, right, from Mount Sinai. I'm assuming that's the mountain that they're referencing there. But they put together their own version of the biblical text prior to the King James Version being put out.
Sure. So when you refer to the Sinai Bible, would you be referring to Codex Sinaiticus, like the codex that comes? Okay. That's why I was trying to get some clarification.
We just lost Jean-Michel for a second, guys. I'm sure he's going to join us any second now. All right, guys, just while we wait for Jean-Michel to come back, guys, please understand what biblical texts are. You've got the Sinaiticus text. You've got that was around 325, 350 AD. He's back. We've got the Masoretic text. We've got the Septuagint text. These are all biblical texts. Okay. So for example, the Sinaiticus text, before I go back to the video, guys, going back to the video now, is made up of manuscripts, of earlier manuscripts. So the Sinaiticus text is just a fully compiled Bible made up of manuscripts from much earlier manuscripts. Okay, we've got over 5,800 manuscripts. The amount of evidence that we have for Christianity is literally ridiculous. Seriously. But anyways, let's go back to the video.
Because so you can actually go and see Codex Sinaiticus is at the British Library, so you can go and see it. It's on display, and the British Library has actually digitized the entire manuscript. So I work with manuscripts in my linguistic work. I'm an expert on early Christian scribal culture, and particularly in Greek and Coptic manuscripts. I actually have a facsimile. So I have a photocopy that was done by the British Library of Codex Sinaiticus that I work with in my office. So I have it here. And the only reason I asked for clarification is because I want to make sure that what I'm addressing is actually what you mean.
Gotcha.
And not addressing something else. Because the Codex Sinaiticus in particular is just it's a 4th century Greek manuscript. Mm-hmm. It comes from approximately between 325 and 350 AD. And its text of the Gospels reads almost identical to the modern Greek text that we develop translations from. So my curiosity is just simply in kind of exploring, when you say that it denies the crucifixion or that the crucifixion isn't there, I mean, I can go on right now, Codex Sinaiticus, and I can look up the end of, say, Matthew 27, where it has Jesus being crucified. And that's in Codex Sinaiticus, or, the John 19, or any of the other ones. So I think my confusion is.
Remember, guys, he said that the Codex Sinaiticus, he called it Sinai. He said that Jesus wasn't crucified according to that text. He said that. Okay, we've proved that. We showed you that. He said that. Oh, shouts to Rashid. Rashid said, "My wife is triggered by what Carson said. She thinks he's an absolute fool." Shouts to your wife, bro. Okay, guys, remember what he said. Okay, is proving him wrong. So what are you talking about? The crucifixion is on the Sinaiticus text, and he even got the text from behind him and showed it. So let's continue. Do you have anything to say to that, brother?
Let him
you're
keep
mute.
going. Let him keep going.
All right.
That it doesn't read any differently. So actually, are you able to pull up a website with the viewers or listeners or whatever be able to see that?
Right now to make sure I have the version that I'm looking at.
While he's pulling that up too, like I keep saying to all the people that aren't scientists traveling the world and linguists, I don't even know how to pronounce it the right way, like me.
Yeah, linguists.
What cyanide? I keep thinking of cyanide, like the poison cyanide Bible. So
right.
Is that like a version? So from my own knowledge that I know, like when I really studied all this, what I thought was interesting about the Bible was how many different eyewitness. I studied C.S. Lewis back in the day, how many different eyewitnesses and stuff there were, and they went on purpose to mention so many other names that they were able to cross-reference throughout history and throughout those times, from my understanding. And those were different things that I always thought were kind of interesting.
This guy should have edited this guy out of the.
Yeah.
It's annoying, bro. He just waffles.
Yeah, off topic.
I felt was a good concept of proof. And then I want Billy to answer, and also. I'm just curious, like the Sinai Bible, where was that piece
I found
discovered?
the text where I was referencing. Actually, I was misquoted. I misquoted there. It's the Gospel of Barnabas.
Let's pause.
Yeah. Well, so that's the.
So remember the video I posted? He gave two references to substantiate what he said about there being no crucifixion. He gave the Book of Barnabas first, then he gave. What did he give, Nelson?
And the Sinai Bible.
Right. So he gave both. So what did he mean he misquote? So what he's saying now is, I didn't mean the Sinai Bible. I meant the Book of Barnabas. But in the video I posted, he gave both references.
He gave both. Can't make this shit.
Sad.
And he's so sure of himself. That's what
What did he
amazes me
say?
about.
What did he say? I'm giving you facts and sources.
Yeah, facts is. Bro, this guy's a charlatan, bro. All right, let's continue. Let's continue.
That's good. So let's deal with that too, because I've actually worked with. There are two manuscripts of the Gospel of Barnabas. The Gospel of Barnabas is a really interesting document because it is a known forgery, and so that's why I think it's important to get to these sources. So, at the very start of the Gospel of Barnabas, which we only have two copies of, one is in Italian and one is in Spanish. We see right off the bat that the Gospel of Barnabas, not to be confused with either the Epistle of Barnabas or the Acts of Barnabas, which are two apocryphal documents from the 2nd century, but the Gospel of Barnabas in particular, we know it's a forgery because it does things like in chapter 92, it says that Jesus spent 40 days on Mount Sinai, and then he came to the Jordan River and he walked to Jerusalem. But Mount Sinai is more than a week's journey away from Jerusalem, and neither Mount Sinai nor Jerusalem are close to the Jordan River. So never mind there not being a route from the Jordan River to...
Hold on. I want to give a special shout out. We got Kobe, my brother Kobe, on the comment section.
Yeah,
Christians
Kobe.
are so happy today, laughing out loud. No, Kobe. Hold on, let me just
I'm not
address that.
Christian. I'm not Christian. I'm not even happy.
There you
I'm
go.
just logical. It's just,
No.
Logic always
It's
wins.
it's not that I'm happy. It's just that it's just frustrating, bro. Which a lot of people, we live in the world of sound bites. They hear something and then they run with it because of their personal inclinations. Maybe they don't want to believe in Christ, so they will hear a sound bite that goes against Christ, and they think this is knowledge, or this is how things should be, or this is how it is, and so on. No one actually bothers to do the research or actually find out what actually truly happened historically and so on. Everyone has this esoteric knowledge, these interpretations that they come up with, and then when you run into a real historian, you look stupid and you look foolish, and that's basically what's happening with this guy. So a lot of people are trying to reinterpret the Bible according to how they feel about it, rather than the way it should be interpreted, historically, archaeologically, and so on and so forth. So when they run into people that actually do know what they're talking about, they just look stupid and ridiculous, and that is, it's not that I'm actually happy. If anything, it's just frustrating, to be honest with you. We're gonna continue, but shouts to you, Kobe, bro. Shouts to you, man. Why are Christians happy? Christians are happy because the truth is finally being exposed. Because in the world that we live in, a lot of people just make up lies. That's the reason why. But shouts to Clutch Films. Christianity is the most esoteric thing there is. As you can see, that's not really the case, is it? This guy is getting...
I see the point he's making, though.
What? Which is? Say
anyway,
that.
No, when it's just for esoteric, it's okay. The concept of God and spiritual matters is esoteric, I think.
Sorry, say that again, bro. You sound a bit low. Anything
that delves into the spiritual world is esoteric, and the meaning of life and that type of stuff, the purpose of life. I think there is some esoteric. It's presented simply, but the concepts are esoteric. When I mean esoteric, I mean that they're quite profound, is what I mean. Like they are very there's a high level of spirituality, spiritual knowledge you can attain if you study and meditate on what Christianity teaches. Not a good or bad thing. I think it's just, I see what he's saying in that sense.
Okay.
I think that's what he means.
The definition of esoteric, okay, because I just looked it up on the dictionary. Proper definition for it is intended for or likely to be understood by only a small number of people with a specialized knowledge or interest. That's what esoteric basically means.
I know you disagree with me on this, but I think that Christianity is that. I think most Christians. I agree. I definitely agree.
I completely disagree. I don't think there is any.
I think many Christians don't really have a clue about biblical matters. This is what I've come across anyway.
My opinion is, I believe that everyone has the capacity to understand anything. We are born with that capacity. Now, whether we are going to follow through, whether we are going to bother to do the research, whether we are going to bother to actually look into it and find out the facts and separate the fact from the fiction, whether we are going to do that, that's a whole nother question. But we are all born with the capacity to understand. I don't believe that esoteric knowledge is a real thing. Clutch Film is going off on one. How many Christians there are? There's like, I don't know, we're the biggest religion in the world, so you tell me. I think it's like I don't know, just the Catholic Church.
I wanna do the debate.
But let's continue with a
lot of stuff we're gonna cover.
Yeah, we've got a lot to cover. Clutch Films, I'm gonna put the link in the thing. And as we cover everything, if you want to jump in and have a quick back and forth, we can do that as well. But yeah, we've got a lot to cover, Clutch Films. But I'm gonna put the link in the comment section so that you can join us as well. Yeah. Hold on a second. So he's basically right now sorry, we went on a tangent there. But he's basically breaking down how the Gospel of Barnabas is basically a fraud.
A forgery.
So that's where
I want to move on a bit. I want. Well, this is clear to play because I think Carson talking about his creation theory.
Oh yeah. I want to cover that as well. Let's just finish this little bit here.
Like around Mount Sinai or going to Jerusalem. But there are internal problems with the Gospel of Barnabas, which indicate that it shows no actual indication of evidence of coming from or even having knowledge of first century Jewish understanding. It actually says Jesus is the Christ, but not the Messiah, which indicates that whoever the author is, he didn't know that those were the same words. And I think a bigger problem is that the Gospel of Barnabas actually paraphrases Dante's Inferno, which was written in 1314. So there's a lot of internal evidences that disqualify the Gospel of Barnabas, never mind the fact that we don't have any evidence of it prior to the 14th century, and none in any other language other than Middle Age Italian Italian and Spanish. But the internal content of the Gospel of Barnabas disqualifies it from being ancient. And then the fact that it's doing things like paraphrasing Dante, or it also refers to a rule of the time of Jubilee, which was changed in the Middle Ages from what it was in the biblical year of Jubilee. And it goes with the Middle Ages concept, not the ancient concept. So I think what I'm getting at is, so I'm a historian and I deal with sources. So when I'm looking at sources, I want to make sure that I have a methodology by which I approach any type of source. So if there is something that denies the crucifixion, I want to make sure that I'm analyzing it and that the methodology by which I analyze it actually reveals that the content can be accurately tied to the event. So if we're talking about, say, Codex Sinaiticus, that's in the 4th century. Now that is, I would agree with you, Billy, our oldest copy of the Bible in the sense of cover to cover, Genesis to Revelation copy of the Bible.
Right.
The problem is that we have individual.
The guy made such a good point there, the Wes, because this is what you touching what you said before about people just running with narratives and stuff. If you're going to make such a huge, bold statement that underpins a belief system that's followed by billions of people, you need to have your source. You need to send your research. You can't turn around and say, okay,
bro,
you can't turn around and say, I don't know what that means. Yeah, I don't know.
Con Madigras or something. Con Madigras. Listen, anytime you want to have a debate, bro, we can always have a debate. You're looking like you're doing the Pope's work. I hope so, because I am Catholic, and
I'm not.
and the Catholic is the true religion. All this esoteric knowledge is nothing but paganism. And anytime you want to have a debate, please feel free to I'm gonna put the email there as well. Email me privately and we can have that debate, brother. But trust me.
Let me clarify something. I'm not guys, the people listen, I'm not a Catholic, and Nelson will tell you. I'm not a Catholic. I'm definitely not here defending the Pope. But what I will defend is just debate, how to debate, or the concept of having a sound argument, or not just saying things for the sake of it. That's what I'm for. That's my belief system. If you're going to turn around and say that the crucifixion didn't exist, for example, then you need to back. You can't just come with spurious nonsense that someone in 10 seconds can immediately dismantle. Meanwhile, you're out there making videos. You're making videos. And then having the nerve to talk about how this is facts and knowledge and this is facts and sources, whereby the sources you're using, you didn't even bother to check them out. You should have checked out the fact that whether or not Barnabas was a legitimate source. And then when you're tackled, you're jumping from one source. I didn't mean that source, no, I meant this source. We clearly heard you mentioning two sources. Now the source that you go to is being debunked as a forgery. You look foolish.
It's embarrassing. It's stupid.
It's more than anything, and this is not pro-Christian, pro-Catholic or anything. This is a lesson that if you have an ideology, one thing these guys need to do when they have a foreign ideology or this a different understanding of creation or life or whatever, maybe stick to that. Stick to that philosophy. When you try to turn around and start bashing other people's one, when you haven't got the source or knowledge to do it, this is what can happen to you.
And it's true that it has to do with logic, guys. You just have to be logical about everything that we are saying. It just requires logic. You don't necessarily have to be affiliated to a particular religion or none of that type of stuff. It's just logic. If you're going to talk about something, if you're going to talk about Christianity, you have to be able to you have to be able to point to the right sources, to the right historical sources, and so on and so forth. You have to be honest about what you're talking about. You have to be truthful. When you are not truthful, when you are historically incorrect, archaeologically incorrect, when you are all of these things, all it takes is for someone to come in and say, "Well, that's not the truth, is it? You are lying, aren't you? This is not what happened, is it?" And this is what I'm trying to say. A lot of people they cling to their own interpretations of the Bible, or and this is what I mean about esoteric knowledge being so problematic, because it's about you and what you think is true and what you think is right, and so on and so forth. It's not about what actually took place. They forget that there's history attached to this type of stuff. So whenever you're going to talk about any religion at all, you have to be truthful about that religion. You have to talk about what really happened historically. We have to talk about what that religion really talks about, what it really teaches. You can't make up stuff. And guys, by the way, sorry, bro. I put my email in there, solutionpodcastofficial@gmail.com. Guys, we can have this debate at any given time. And I put also the link there as well. But right now, we're just breaking this video down, this reaction. I know you guys have a lot to say as well. But email me on podcastofficial@gmail.com, and we'll arrange time and date for us to have a debate. Trust me, I'm all for it, guys. I love debates. All right. So if you're not Catholic, if you don't like Catholics, email me. All right, and we'll arrange a debate. And I will convert you. I will turn you into a Catholic. Don't worry about that. All right. I'll get you out of this esoteric nonsense rubbish that you Protestants are becoming, unfortunately, and all you other pagans and atheists. But yeah, let's continue. But that's the email right there. Shouts to Clutch Films. Shouts to everyone that disagrees with me, of course. Con Madigras, all of these guys commenting. Shouts to all you guys. All right, bro. So we broke down the
But let's go. I want to go into the I want to go into what.
Do you have the timestamp, or should I just continue playing?
I don't. Yeah, just continue. Yeah, just continue. I don't think it's going to be long from now.
Copies of all four Gospels going back hundreds of years before Codex Sinaiticus. So I have a facsimile behind me of P66. This is a late 2nd century copy of the Gospel of John. I work with this particular manuscript. I can just show the screen right here. This is an almost complete copy of the Gospel of John. And it has the crucifixion.
By any chance?
Yeah, so papyrus is just the what it's made out of. So
I got that from ChatGPT, by the way.
Yeah,
Sorry,
so
guys, I'm just
I can actually.
So let's move forward a bit, Nelson. I think let's move forward. I want to
Yeah, so I'll show you this. So I make. So the documents you actually see on my bookshelf behind me are facsimile papyri that I've made. So when I was in Egypt last summer.
Let's move forward by at least 5. I want William Carson to talk about his origin story. I think
me too. Where are we? 18. Let's move 2 minutes down. Let's see what it's saying now.
Oftentimes what happens is that the text of the Gospel of Jesus is what
this information is just copied from older tablets and texts from an earlier date. That's what I found. That it's made.
Let him talk from there.
From the Enuma Elish and the 7 tablets of creation is a lot of the in Genesis, a lot of the creation story that comes into Genesis. Not all of it, but because obviously it's a smaller. Genesis is a much smaller version of a much bigger story, but it's literally almost word for word from the Enuma Elish and the 7 tablets of creation. The Epic of Atrahasis as well. Is also there in the Old Testament. Several other tablets as well, Codapon Marabi and a few others have made it into that text. Sumerian cylinder scrolls that talk about the creation story. Again, the creation story in the Epic of Atrahasis. And so we tend to see this this copying of ancient tablets, text, and scriptures, even some papyruses, into the biblical text, meaning that my point here is that I think a lot of people are saying that this information was written in real time. A lot of people believe that. If you ask the average person, they really believe that. But a lot of this information is just copied from older tablets and texts from an earlier date. That's what I found. That it's made it into the canonized Bible, but they never reference that they got it from any other ancient texts and tablets that have to do with a totally different civilization with totally different religious beliefs.
Have you read the Enuma Elish?
Yeah, I've done lectures.
Do you mind? Sure. Do you mind summarizing the content of the creation account in the Enuma Elish for us?
Sure. The Enuma Elish is a very ancient text discovered in the Library of Ashurbanipal. And the summary of it is that it really gives us an account, which is crazy, an astronomical account of the creation of our solar system. It talks about planets and moons gaining specific orbits around the sun. It talks about a huge planet named Tiamat, 4 to 6 times larger than Earth. Earth didn't exist at the time that this, according to the author of this text, which is pretty interesting. And then there talks about a nemesis of sorts. In the original version, it's called Nibiru, but in a more recent version, still thousands of years old, the name was changed to Marduk. Marduk is in the Jewish American Library, in the biblical text, in the Torah, and so forth. Very popular figure in ancient times in the religious books and text. Marduk wanted to be the destroyer, so Marduk is the one that during its next orbit towards Tiamat, crashed into Tiamat, destroyed Tiamat. A huge chunk of it swung away, recoalesced, taking the water, land, and organic material, which basically recoalesced as our planet here, Earth. And the rest of it broke up into pieces. Some of it turned into the asteroid belt. Other parts of it were thrown towards the sun, and some were thrown towards the inner Oort cloud, towards the outer edge of the solar system. This planet or this moonlet that orbited
Pause 1 minute.
Supposedly a brown dwarf, based on the description of it, gained a very strange orbit around our sun.
I just wait to pick up a couple words like Nibiru and Timu. Just 2 words I want people to remember. Keep going, Nelson.
All right.
We have the scientific evidence now also to match with NASA's data, where we see that Saturn and I believe Neptune switch places. Uranus is flipped on its side, and that's more evidence that something came through our solar system in ancient times and gravitationally really tugged at planets here and switched up their orbits and even pulled the axis of a planet on its own side, where the equator is now running north and south. So a little bit of modern astrophysics kind of backs up what this ancient text is saying. But the New Militia also then begins to talk about the fact that these beings, it kind of cuts into the fact that these beings, are on Earth and at some point begin to engage mankind. In other words, they didn't create people from scratch, but they engaged the existing hominid and began to utilize us as workers for their workforce. In the Atrahasis epic, you see a much similar story, like slightly later date period, but still thousands of years old, the epic of Atrahasis. And we see a very similar story. And we see where the sons of God literally came down to Earth. They came from Mars, according to this text. If you read the translation of the planet Mars and to English. And then they went to battle. They were going to go to battle in South Africa against Enki and Lil and Anu. And they come to terms without going to battle. They argued that they needed women, human women, believe it or not. And they also wanted a workforce. They didn't want to continue to do the labor. They were cleaning out the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, digging canals, building cities on Earth, and according to the text on Mars, not according to me. And a decision was made by Enki and Anu and Enlil to allow this experiment to happen, where they would take the existing hominid here. They would slay one of the gods, meaning that they would, in my opinion, that doesn't mean that they're going to kill it, but somehow some type of genetic modification or manipulation, in my personal opinion, it's my personal hypothesis. But in the end, it ends up being that human beings are now doing a lot of this labor and worshiping these people as gods, as they, my personal opinion, masqueraded as gods. A lot of stories there, parallel stories that you see in the Bible, even the Tower of Babel incident, and many other crazy stories that are in the Bible. You can find a lot of those true stories in the ancient texts, like the Epic of Gilgamesh, where you can find the true story of Noah. They found the Noah tablet to give him instructions on how to build the ark. It wasn't a big boat; it was a.
So I just want to, can you take that off the screen? I just want to show you something.
Can
you take that off? Can you stop sharing so I can share something?
Yeah, sure. He's saying that, remember the claim that a lot of what he's saying, that a lot of what he's researched.
I want to show a bit of a background as to where this stuff comes from. And the person that it comes from too, by the way. So here we go.
Yeah. And he just exposes him as being nonsense.
This is
rubbish.
Let me play this. Okay, so this is a guy called Zachariah Sitchin.
Do our best. First of all, the word Yahweh.
Just a second.
Words are names of God in the Hebrew. Is this to be understood as a?
Sorry, what were you saying, Nelson?
Yes. So I was just going to say. So basically, this
is. I don't tell you who these people are. So this is the guy called Zachariah Sitchin. He's dead now. He's a person, one of the main sources of what we call an interpreter of the Sumerian tablets that Billy Carson mentioned. Some of the Sumerian tablets, and this is the belief system that they're basically Babylonians we're talking about here.
Yeah.
And that's Jordan Maxwell.
So this is where the guys that he's getting it from, basically.
A lot of these guys get this idea of what he's going to talk in terms of this civilization that came down and manipulated human beings and had them mining for gold, and some of the stuff he's talking about there, the Anunnaki, who were basically one of the people that created or co-created human beings. So this is where this kind of ideology comes from. So I'm just going to let it play a little bit.
Okay.
Proper name, or is Yahweh in fact in Hebrew describing something?
It is a descriptive term.
This is what I thought.
Yeah, it's not the proper name.
And could you explain to me exactly what it is describing?
It is usually translated, I am who I am, something like that. But more accurately, the tense, which in Hebrew it says eheyeh, asher eheyeh, is a future tense. And therefore it means I will be whoever I will be, in context of the whole biblical tale, and with the throwback to the Sumerian information that I provide in my books. It really means I can be whoever I choose to be. And this is explained in my latest book, Divine Encounters, who really God with the capital G was, is, and will be.
Yes. That, I think, is a very important point that Christians need to understand, because so many Christians today, especially fundamentalists, have a set concept in their mind, a pat religious belief system, and it does not seem to fit with the ancient and original Hebrew. And that's why I'm mostly concerned with establishing what did the original Hebrew words mean, and try and get a better handle on where we're going in our Western world religion. There was a professor I heard once talking about Yahweh and why I was interested in it, and he said it also implied stored.
Now I know what's going on here. Now I know exactly what the hell's going on. He said one thing that caught my eye, right? He said, I am who I am when God says who he is when he answers Moses. And then he, look how he twisted it after that. He goes, meaning you can be whatever you want to be. Okay, this is what I mean about people putting their own interpretation and not relying on the tradition that comes from the not relying on the apostolic tradition that comes from the original people who were there, who passed it on. And so these white guys over here, sorry to describe them as white guys, but this is where these guys are basically getting their knowledge from. It's from the interpretation that these guys have of the Bible. That's their interpretation of the Bible, and they taking the interpretation as valid. They're saying that how this guy interprets the Bible is the valid way of interpreting the Bible. And I think I understand where that comes from. I think it comes from a person. For example, let's say I'm going to give something very, very basic. Christianity says no sex outside marriage. We live in a world that's tempting a lot of young men. So I don't want to follow that rule because I've got a lot of temptation around me. So guess what I'm going to do? I am going to reinterpret the Bible, because the Bible is like this moral burden on people's minds that people can't shake off because of how intrinsic, how part of of society's fabric it is, because of the history and so on and so forth. So what people do, so what a young man would do, because he doesn't want to follow the laws and the teachings of Christ because of all the temptation around him, he will go and look for these type of guys to reinterpret the Bible. They'll cling to that reinterpretation so they can continue living their sinful lifestyle. So it all boils down to, you know what, I want to do what I want to do, and the Bible is a thorn on that. And guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to reinterpret the Bible according to how I want to reinterpret it, so that I can do whatever I want to do. When that guy said God's name is I am who I am, so that means I can do whatever I want. You can basically be whatever you want. It's like I thought to myself, no wonder why these guys are coming up with all this bullshit, or no wonder why they all became esoteric. No wonder why they all lost their way.
With ego. It goes back to actually the creation story, where the way to get men to the best way to get men out of submissive worship is to present them with the idea that there's always something. You need to be smart. The smarter you are, the closer you are to divinity. This is the root of it all. So Zechariah Sitchin is a perfect example of that, where he spoke about, he used what you mentioned, a very simple term, I am what I, which is what Yahweh means, and he gave it completely different. But I want to just keep going on because there's something particular that I want you to listen to.
Hold on, bro. You said something very important. You brought up the temptation and the Garden of Eden, and remember what the temptation was. The temptation was you can be
Knowledge.
God. You can
Knowledge.
you can.
Knowledge.
Yeah,
Knowledge.
what these guys are trying to be is God. What they're trying to be is the same religion that the Egyptians believed in, is the same Egyptians that all these ancient religions believe in, is the idea that you can be God. That's why these guys have all become basically, in my eyes, they're all falling for the temptation that the very first temptation that the devil trapped Adam and Eve with, which is the idea that you can be God when really and truly you're not. You're just creation. Yeah. Sorry, bro. Continue. Sorry, I just wanted to say that.
Good points.
Power that when it is released, it has something to do with power being released, the creative power being released. Does that?
Well, that would not flow from this term Yahweh. That is whatever, an expansion into this particular professor's theology or beliefs. But obviously, if you contemplate, first of all, with the logic that God granted us, God with the capital G, you would say the following. Well, here we are on this planet called Earth by us, and intelligent life evolved here, according to the Sumerians, helped along a little by the Anunnaki from Nibiru, but there was evolution.
Okay, did you hear the words? I might tell you what to remember what Billy Carson said. Remember that word?
Yeah.
Nibiru. This is
Say
what I'm saying. Nibiru. Remember what he said?
Yeah, that word.
Spoke about this. Billy Carson mentioned that as well. Also, they're reading from the same text. But what I'm showing you guys is that what Billy Carson is doing is it's been around. This ideology that he's putting forward, this video is about 50, 40, 30 years old, probably. So this is an old belief system that Billy Carson is just regurgitating. However, he wouldn't get himself, these guys here wouldn't get themselves caught up like Billy Carson did. That's the difference. You know why? Do you know why? Because Jordan Maxwell and Zechariah, they kept to their lane. They kept to their lane. They weren't out here making, going out of their way to insult other people's beliefs. They were like, look, I believe that there is no religion. I believe that we all, so they went that way. They weren't like, if we're going to try and merge it now with Christianity. And, they weren't, they mentioned a few things that they believed that Christianity maybe got, but their whole thing wasn't to then attack Christians and I'm going to debate every Christian. And that wasn't what they were about. That's why they never got themselves in the kind of hot water that Billy Carson got himself into.
But you know what? It's funny you say that because Billy Carson, because I watched when he was explaining himself, I watched that show, and he kept saying that he got set up. He got set up. He kept talking about how he got set up, and I was thinking to myself, okay, so Billy Carson was actually following his lane. He was giving out interviews, right? Of course, back then, 40 years ago, technology wasn't as advanced as it is today. Social media wasn't as advanced as it is today. So Billy Carson, when I was watching his, him explaining what happened and so on and so forth, he kept talking about it was a setup. It was a setup. So I would say, bro, Billy Carson was following his lane. A lot of people wanted to debate him, but he was ducking them all this time. So his friends basically to stop him, they basically set him up. They set him up for a debate. He didn't because he kept saying, I'll go set up, and I was thinking to myself, this guy's a clown. Because if you got set, what do you mean you got set up? You have all this knowledge and you're sitting down and talking to a man.
No,
how can you set up? Yo, Clutch Films is furious, bro. Yo, Clutch Films is furious.
That's fine. Let's okay, well, that's fine. But this is the thing: if we're fools, it should be so easy to jump on the link and expose us as fools.
bro.
It'd be like shooting duck. You know, what do you call it? Fish in the
Is
puddle or
it
whatever.
shooting duck out of a water or something like that?
Right. It's just easy. It's easy to say that online, but come on this platform and
You know what I
show
mean?
us something. I want to know how I'm always up. I'm very willing to learn.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
if I'm a fool, then educate me.
Yeah. He says stupid things like well, I know you don't agree. You probably don't agree with this. But he says stupid things like the cross has been pushed by Roman forces, taking on kingship and dominion instead of kindness and mercy. My brother, you obviously don't know about the early history of Christianity. You don't know any of that, bro. Like I said, you might have my email. I have been, and you know, we can look at the history. I've been posting it. Send me that email and stop being a little clown. All right, let's continue. I'm gonna start addressing these guys, you know. All that talk. Go and read history, bro. Go and read history. Stop relying on that esoteric knowledge, all that bullshit, all them bullshit sound bites. Don't be a Billy Carson. Hold on a second.
To be honest,
we get back to the debate,
yeah, we could do a little bit. We got a little bit of time left, maybe 10 minutes, because I think
I just wanted Finger to break down. You know, when he replies to Billy Carson after everything he said, because he made a claim that that a lot of
those belief systems are in the Genesis basically plagiarized.
Yeah. I just wanted to play Finger's response to that, and then we can have a quick chat, and then we'll call it a day. Let me just play Finger's response to it. Huff's response, West's response to it.
A round disc that he built with the sections cut up on the inside like a pie. That was discovered about 4 or 5 years ago. I believe it's at the British Museum now. So there's a lot of text that's just been covered and copied over into the biblical text. And I think that, in my personal opinion, a lot of people are just became a cargo cult, worshiping people that were masquerading as gods. I do believe in God, by the way. Let me make this clear. I believe in God. I believe there's a creator of the universe. I believe that the mathematics, the quantum physics all proves that. The fact that we're here, I believe this universe is imbued with a divine energy and a divine spark that lives inside of all of us. I just don't believe that the God of the Bible is truly the creator of the universe. I don't think that God needs money. I don't think that God needs.
Sure. Do you mind if I just jump in here for a second? Because I think we've kind of gone on from the original question. I appreciate that. I do have a few issues with your.
So again, he flipped back into the Gnosticism again. When he said, "I don't believe that God is the Bible created the universe," so he's flipped back to the Marduk God. Remember the idea of the Marduk God and then the Demiurge God?
Yeah.
So what he's saying is, I don't believe that the God of the Bible, which is they call the Demiurge or whatever, they don't believe that person created the system of things. It was a higher God, the Marduk, what do you call it, God. So he's just flipping from Sumerian, Babylonian teachings. I mean, the root of it all is basically Babylonian. Even with the Gnosticism, the root of all what he's saying is Babylonian. This is where all this secret so-called knowledge, esoteric knowledge comes from. All came from Babylon. Most mystery systems come from Babylon, and that's basically what he's regurgitated: is Babylonian mystery systems. And this was around, but this was around before the Bible was written. It was around before the Bible. Remember, the Bible didn't come. The Bible came. Well, Christianity, or if you look at the law, Moses, the law that was given to Moses, that was essentially what started off Christianity. Would you agree? You know, the law that was given to Moses.
I would say before Moses, it was oral tradition. What there was before Moses, nothing was written down. Everything was being passed on orally. So there was no one was writing anything down. So it was only after Moses that we got the law, and that's when through Moses we got the Torah. So the Torah means the law, and then you have the Nevi'im, the book of the and then you have the Ketuvim, which is the book of the prophets, and so on and so forth. So yeah. So
Yeah,
Moses,
the point I'm making is that throughout the earth, only a select few were given that knowledge, first of all, that we just spoke about. And most of the planet Earth were steeped in this type of stuff. The first religion that mankind, this is before the truth is revealed, was sun worship. That's the first part, sun and fire worship. It was dark, they got scared, what's happening? The sun came up, they looked at the sun, oh, we need to worship that. That's where it started. And out of that came all these mythologies and beliefs, the god of moon. Then, okay, we're going to worship the god of night at nighttime. Then the sun comes up, well, we need to show reverence to the sun. And the sun gives life to plants, so let's worship the tree. And so this is where it all came from. And out of that came this type of mythology about different gods, and there's a god here, and there's a higher god and lower gods. This is basically where this all comes from. Now, my thing is, if you want to believe that, go ahead, believe it. You can believe that. But when you try to now merge it or suggest that there's some correlation between what was taught, what was believed there, and the revealed word of God to the Israelites, that's where you messed up.
Yes.
Don't do that.
That's so true, bro. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Very dangerous path you're walking down when you do that.
Exactly. Go and worship the sun. Go and worship the trees. Go and worship nature. Kobe says, I was waiting for years for him to be debated. If he was ducking the challenges, I can see that. Yes, bro, you can see that he was ducking the challenge because he knew that he was talking a lot of smack. You know, and people wanted to debate, man. He was trying to stay on his lane. Unfortunately, he got set up. He should have never agreed to this. He agreed to it, and now look at it. Look at what's happened to his career. It's been exposed. Now we know that he actually doesn't know anything about the Hebrews, the Israelites, the Bible, all of that. He doesn't know any about that. And like Jean-Michel said, if you want to worship nature, bro, if you want to worship the sun, if you want to worship all of that nonsense, then go ahead. No one is stopping you from doing that. It's a secular society. You've got
like,
freedom.
If you believe that every human being has got this divinity and we're all gods, this comes from a heathen. I don't mean that in a negative way. It does come from, when I mean heathen and pagan, this literally just means outside the temple. That's all it means. It's outside of what Judeo-Christianity believes. That's all it means. If you want to believe that, that's fine. But when you say, oh, because in our religion, we believe that every human being is a divine being or godlike, God within. If you believe it, fine. But don't turn around and look at Psalms and say, look, it says in Psalms, ye are all gods. See? We're right. That's what annoys me. Because the book of Psalms, when it says about ye are gods, nothing to do with what you're talking about.
But bro, isn't it funny that they try to use the Bible? They try to use the Bible to validate their own belief system.
Right,
they try to use the.
That's
it's like
the part I don't get. That's the part I don't get. No, that says a lot. Why are you doing it? Why are you validating a book that has completely contrary to what the Bible literally says? Do not worship only one God. Only. It talks about not worshiping the sun, moon, and stars. Literally says don't do that. So you're there worshiping the sun, moon, and stars, doing something the Bible says not to do, but then you want to reference the Bible to support your belief system.
Do you know what? This is what I don't get. This is what I don't get. All these holy books, even Islam, even the Quran. The Quran, you can't read a chapter without mentioning the Bible. It's like, seriously, it's like the Gnostics, the Quran, everyone. It's like everyone against the Bible. It's like, bro, you've got your little pagan belief. You believe you're God, whatever that means. Because to me, that's just another understanding of reincarnation. The idea that the is it reincarnation? You know what? No, not reincarnation. It's the idea that when you come back alive.
That's what Gnostics believe that you.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, exactly. That you die.
The earth is only there for reincarnation. That's all. It's It's only there for reincarnation.
It's basically.
Where did it say that in the Bible? That the earth is a dirty place just for reincarnation. It doesn't say that in the Bible. It talks about the earth being a place for everlasting life for human beings. That's what it says. A gift from God to human beings. It's not a dirty
Exactly.
place. This is what these guys believe.
So if you want to worship nature, fine, worship nature. That's it. If you don't, but you don't use the Bible to validate your belief. Don't do that. And don't keep talking about the Bible. Seriously, just don't do that. Leave the Bible alone and go on and be a pagan. And it's fine. No one cares. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it's a free society, secular society. You can do whatever you want to do. But stop. It's really annoying when they do that. I really don't understand. I think Billy Carson got his clout off of mentioning the Bible, and he knows it. He knows that he got his clout off of mentioning the Bible. That's the reason why he got the attention that he got. But my question to him would be, why go for the Bible? Seriously, why even go there? You could have just preached your religion and got everyone to believe in your religion and continued. That's it. But you knew you wouldn't have got the clout that you got if you didn't mention the Bible. And this is why all these guys mention the Bible. In my opinion, from what I've observed, what
they would say in their defense, not in their defense, but I guess what some of them would say, people like him would say, that they're trying to free minds. Like, you guys are all caught up in this Christianity and this biblical stuff. Look, it's all rubbish. Look, it's based on an ancient thing. But let's say that's even true. What's that got to do? Why are you involving yourself in that? If you believe that, then let people believe it. Why are you coming out of your belief system to try and tarnish another belief system? Just follow what you believe and teach what you believe to like-minded people.
But the funny thing is, there's that just on the surface level. That's just logical. That just makes sense, right? But check this out. Whenever they say that, just like Wes is about to prove him wrong now. Basically, he asked him and said, "Okay, tell me if you're saying that the Bible took from the creation story of the Bible was taken from somewhere else, from one of these other ancient whatever. Okay, cool, prove it." He went on a rant and he just proved him wrong. He said, "No, the creation story has nothing to do with that. So what are you talking about?" And this is what I'm saying about him being exposed. What people do is they see one little similarity. But because they are so triggered by the Bible, they use that little similarity that I'm talking about, like not even like, you get me, like a speck, like something so small. They use that thing so small and they said, yeah, that's it. That's it. The creation story, the Genesis creation story was taken from this and this and this and this. And this is what tends to happen. Then they go on YouTube and then they start pushing this idea, this stupid.
Let me say something too. This is going to be controversial, what I'm going to say now. All right. Let me tell you this too. If he believes that the God of the Bible is Satan, logic would tell me that he believes that Allah is also Satan too. No, but he'll never say that on camera though.
Oh, never.
So what I'm going to say. So there's an element of coward. There's an element of cowardice here too. I'm just going to say that. Because there's no way that you believe that. There's no way you believe all that stuff about Jesus that being crucified, that he's not divine, and Jesus is God of the Bible is really Satan. If you believe that stuff, you must believe very similar things about Islam too. That Allah is not really the creator of the earth. You can't believe that Allah is the creator of the earth and then also believe that the God of the Bible is Satan. You must believe that Allah also has some type of, is not really the creator too, because you would say, oh, it's not it's not Yahweh, it's Allah, you would say. So you don't believe Allah the God of you don't believe Allah is the God of the earth. Why did you say that too?
You know they can't say that. These guys are hypocrites. They can't say that.
I can't take you seriously then.
He mentioned Islam. He actually mentioned that Islam also, on that video that you sent me, I was watching it, and he mentioned that Islam also rejects the crucifixion of Christ. And I was thinking,
that's interesting. So you're there to boost Islam.
Yeah, literally.
But you won't tell her to say, oh, by the way, guys, that Allah you worship, he ain't really the God of the.
No, you won't there.
Say that. Why don't you say that?
I'm gonna tag him with this.
Yeah, say that because you believe that. I know you believe that. You have to believe that because you haven't come up. Your God is that strange God Marduk that Gnostics believe in. Say that or the Anunnaki. You believe that they're the
Yeah.
gods of the universe.
Bro,
So then, by that logic, you don't believe Allah is the God of the universe. So why don't you make a video
talking
so
about
you get that big title, God of the, where he put the title, God of the Bible is Satan. I want to see a video that says Allah of the Quran is Shaitan. Say that.
bro,
Let's see that video.
Shouts to the Reefer Gibson. Shouts to you, the Reefer. He said Billy is not controlled by a system. Truth is hard. Do you agree with that
All
statement?
you Billy supporters, please go to Billy and ask him to create a video. I'm giving you guys a title to give to him. Allah is not the ruler, is not the God of the is not the law of the Quran is really Shaitan. Please, can someone get Billy Carson to make that video?
Yes, absolutely.
Because he must believe that. He would never make a video like that.
I think he's definitely controlled by the system. I think the system is pagan. I think all these ancient religions were set up by Satan. I also believe Islam was set up by Satan. Any non-Christian Judeo-Christian religion is set up by Satan. I think the Talmud was set up by Satan. So all these there can only be one truth, guys. There can't be the truth cannot be all these different religions. It's not true. There can only be one truth, one religion. That's it. And that religion was founded by Christ. So every other religion to me comes from Satan, and Satan is doing this in order to mislead people and to turn people away from the truth. And that's all it is. So yeah, do I believe that Billy is controlled by? Do I think that Billy is not controlled by? No, he is part of the system. He is part of the machine. To push this idea that human beings are God. Look at what he says. He calls himself God. That is literally the first temptation. That is literally the first temptation that the devil presents to Adam and Eve. This is the biggest temptation. Everyone wants to be God. So he is definitely part of the system, because those guys, the devil, that taught this from the time of Adam and Eve. Guess what? This is what he's trying to do. He do what is called do as thy will. He's trying to get you to become God through the religion of do as thy will. You can do whatever you want to do. So he is the system. What's his name? Billy. He is what the system wants you to believe in. But yeah, let me just play this response, and then we'll do final thoughts and and then call it a day. But shouts to everyone watching, even the haters, man. Shouts to you guys.
Summary, although I think I have read the Akkadian version. My Akkadian's not great, but I sat down with a Assyriologist friend and we walked through it a couple of years ago. So I think that there are components of what you said that I would say are in there. I'm not sure it's the best summary. Nonetheless, okay, going with what you said that there were like verbatim parallels with the biblical creation story.
Sorry,
even just going off of what you said, which I think there are components of that I would agree with, the Battle of the Gods.
I'm going to respond to a comment that I saw. There's a comment I just saw. I'm going to respond to. There's a comment that just came up. I'm going to respond to.
Oh, okay.
When someone said that he's not part of the system, we are. Let me tell you something. He is part of the system too. Of course, he's part of the system. It's a mystery system. What he's teaching comes under what you call the mystery systems. These are systems that were taught in secret societies. They were written down on paper, just like the Bible was. They had their belief system, just like the Bible did. They were taught just like the Bible has been taught. They had their prophets, that just like the Bible. So it's the same concept. So for you to say that he wasn't part of a system, you don't know what you're talking about. He is part of a system. Just because it's not Christianity doesn't mean it's not part of a system. So
yeah,
understand the meaning of words when you say things.
Yeah, and it's just because people tend to just because listen, just because you're part of a different belief system, you're no longer part of the system. Do you see how stupid this sounds, guys? I mean, just logically, people don't even have to be knowledgeable. They can just use logic to just break you guys down. This guy goes, how do you
everything is part of the system. Even atheism is part of the system.
Yeah, everything. There's no such thing. My family's part of my system. You understand? So everything is part of a system. Christianity is part of a system. Everything is part of a system. There's no such thing as not being part of a system. Get that out of your head. You know, there's always a hierarchy. Figure goes, what about the Dogon tribe? What about them? Sun worship to me is paganism. Would I heard some I need to research more on the Dogon tribe, but I heard that they technologically speaking they were quite advanced and they
knew they were able to map out this, you know, the solar system. They were able to map out, you know, celestial without so-called technology. So there must have been some privy to some knowledge, or had some instruments that we weren't privy, don't know about, to see, because they're able to map out literally the solar system.
Wow. So like what I would say,
they were able to do that. It's how they were able to do that. It's how is another question.
And
it goes back to your belief system. If you're like Nelson and you're a Catholic Christian, that's paganism. And no matter what you say, that's his belief system, and you got to respect it. If you're outside of that, that's knowledge, or it's, you know, that's it's knowledge, or it's a divine wisdom, whatever word you want to use. You could go with that. But Nelson has a right to call it paganism because it fits into his belief system. It's outside the temple, which is what paganism, the ancient word for it, means. Fornication is actually what the word means. The word fornication is outside the temple. And guys, that Dogon would be seen as fornication to someone like Nelson, because it's outside of his temple.
Exactly. Could have said a bit of myself. And guys, listen, when I call you guys pagans, it's because you guys believe that you guys are gods. You believe that the sun is something to be worshipped. You believe that creation, it's somehow you're somehow able to become a god through creation. I don't know, you know, so somehow creation is going to give you some kind of epiphany, that you will become something different. You know, you will transcend and all of that type of stuff. To me, this is anything to do with the worship of creation, to the point where you even look at yourself as a god. To me, that is what pagan is. So if that is part of your belief, I will call you what you are. You are a pagan. If that hurts you, tough. Kobe, how dare you, bro? You said JM, you're right. And where's Nelson? You're right. Where's Octavio? You're right.
I say this too, by the way. If you're offended by Nelson calling you a pagan, that means you're a secret Christian. You're a rebellious Christian. And if you weren't, that wouldn't offend you.
Bro, that triggers.
Is that no facts? No. If you're triggered by the word pagan, that means you're a rebellious Christian. You still got Christianity in you, and you're fighting it. So you're offended that he's called you a pagan.
Yeah.
Real pagans are not offended by being called pagans.
No, they not. They not. That's the real ones. That's the real ones.
That's what I said. The real ones.
They accept who they are.
They accept it. They're like, yeah, I am a pagan. That's my belief system.
And what?
So don't get triggered by the word pagan.
Let me just play this bit, bro. Let me just finish off with this bit here.
Let's finish up. Yeah.
Gods, you know, the concept of Enki and the younger gods, and they fight Tiamat, and then Marduk, who swears he'll defeat Tiamat, and Kwenku, who kills Tiamat by shooting her with an arrow. And there's this big
bro, you saying something?
Where's Huff knows exactly. See how he broke it down? He broke it down. If I go back to the other video, I'll show you. It literally, what he's saying is written underneath that video I sent to you.
Yeah.
So Wes Huff knows in detail what they're talking about. That's another thing what I respect too.
And this is the reason why
let me finish this point. Another point too. This is what Billy Carson can learn from this. When you're a scholar, you need to know your debaters' points as much as they do. You need to research their point of view as much as they have. So you can he's filling in gaps that Billy Carson left out in his own belief system. Where's Carson filling in gaps that believes
it's filling gaps.
left out in his own belief system. That's how thorough the guy is. I don't know this guy, but I understand when someone's thorough. And he's thorough. This Westhoff is thorough. But guys, you only get this from knowledge, from reading, studying, taking your stuff seriously.
Not from sound bites. And this is what I'm saying. The point I'm trying to make is what he does is he asks him a question. Yeah, that's true, Kobe. Nobody wants smoke with the Muslims. But the thing is, the reason why I think this is so important is because he basically breaks what he said before down, and he shows him how is that similar to the creation story in the Bible, and it expose. And this is what a lot of these guys do. These guys don't really read it. I don't think. They don't read it, Nelson. They don't. All I'm saying is they
watch YouTube videos that I just put. You see the YouTube video I put. They watch things like that and say, "Oh, that's what it is," and then they regurgitate it. Where this Westhoff, he said, "Okay, I might watch the video, but let me go and read what they read. Those tablets. Let me read those tablets so that you can get a full understanding of what's being said." Oh, that has nothing to do with the Bible. I read it. That has nothing to do with the Bible. You just heard someone saying something. Westhoff also went and read it to the level where he knows this has nothing to do with Genesis or the Bible, and he goes on to say it as well in the video.
And this is the problem with people watching YouTube, or let's say they mention the Dogon tribe. These times they don't know what the Dogon tribes actually wrote down. They don't know what it is they watched the documentary, or they watched a YouTube of someone praising the Dogon tribe and making claims like, for example, oh, did you know that the creation story in Genesis is taken from the Dogon tribe? Why? Because the Dogon tribe did this. And they never, and after that, you know what they do? They sit back, relax, and don't actually do any more research. Why? Because guess what? They already have this, it actually suits them because they're not there for knowledge. They're not there to learn. What they want to do is to find something to refute Christianity. Yeah, they want something to refute Christianity, something to satisfy that feeling that yes, Christianity is not true, so I can continue sinning, so I can continue being a pagan, so I can continue doing all of that. So they go out there looking for validation. That's what they do. They go out there looking for validation, and they find in these little thingy. What he's doing right now, he's breaking him down. He's saying, please tell me, okay, I'm going to break down what you just said in much more detail. Now, please tell me what has that got to do with the creation story, please? Because you made a claim and loads of people follow you, loads of people believe in what you're saying. Now, please show me how the hell is that similar? And he doesn't have an answer for it. And this is what I'm trying to say about all of these guys. That's the problem.
Yeah, because I've even heard people say things like the Bible got the Christian, got the origin story from Egypt, the Egyptian origin story, and they'll point to some random thing. Oh, you see, they had this same concept of this, that, and the other. But then go and actually read the creation story from Egypt. You know what it is? God ejaculated on a leaf. That's the creation story of Egypt. Where's that in the Bible? Do you see my point? I've read it, so I know what I'm talking about. I can tell you the real creation story. It's to do with God ejaculated on flowers and someone eating the flower. This is the real creation story from Egypt. When you know that, then you know no one can't come in and say to me, "Oh, they got the creation, the creation story from in the Bible is from Egypt," because there's no mention of that in the Bible.
Bro, it's absolutely crazy. Guys, I'm just gonna play a little bit more and then we're gonna do the final thoughts, guys. But whoa, it's been a crazy life.
Battle, and then the gods that die end up being the earth and the sky and even us, because we are the end result of that battle. I'm just curious, when you say that there are not just parallels, but there's actual copying, looking at Genesis chapter 1 and 2, where the creation story is summarized in the Bible, what are the actual kind of parallels there that you're looking to? Because as someone who's read both, I not only do I not find parallels, I actually and this is the majority of ancient Near Eastern scholarship with me, think that Genesis chapter 1 is actually an apologetic against documents like the Enuma Elish. So what are the parallels there?
Separated the waters from the waters, for example. That's in the Enuma Elish, and that's also in the biblical text.
Okay.
He only mentioned one. He only mentioned one, separating the water from the waters. He said, basically, I would have thought he would have mentioned more. He said, just give me something that you think, it's parallels with the the creation story in Genesis, and separate the waters from the waters. He mentioned one. I would have thought if you're going to say that Genesis copied from that tribe or that you'd have come up with more than that. And instead, he only mentions one, and I just wanted to get to that point, and that's it. He only mentioned one, and this guy's got a following of God knows how many people. Please tell me this is not. Come on, guys! And shout out to everyone.
By the way, that has nothing to do with the concept of creation. If he's saying that the book of Revelation, Genesis, got the concept of creation from these older manuscripts, then you would see some correlation. But to bring out one word, waters of the waters, you can find it in books all over I'm sure there's many ancient books that has that phrase in it too. That doesn't mean anything. What does that mean? It doesn't mean anything.
Nothing at all. But this guy, I don't know if he got rich off of this, but he definitely got the clout off of this. I don't know if you just quickly answer Marcel. Shout out to you, Marcel. He says, believe what you want, say what you want, prove to me that what you believe is the real truth. Bring something that all humanity can agree is truth, regardless of what you believe. I don't know what he's trying to say there, but if you're talking about knowing what truth is,
don't try and break it down, Nelson. It's nonsensical. Some things are just nonsensical.
I was just going to say, listen, Jesus Christ is the truth. But I doubt. I'm not sure if you're a Christian or not, but I doubt most people don't usually want. They run from the truth. That's usually what happens. So if you think that the truth will make humanity come to some kind of an agreement, no. Human beings are trying to run away from the truth because they want to do what they want to do rather than what the truth tells them to do. Okay, so what I suggest is go. Let's see if you can follow Christ. Try and follow Christ, Marcel. All right, try and follow Christ and see how you do. All right, let's see. I doubt you're going to disagree with Christ because he is the truth. Now try and follow that and see how far you get on that one. And you're going to find yourself probably trying to find excuses to not follow Christ. And when you find that out, you're going to see that you're going to see that what I'm saying is the truth. Trust me. But yeah, guys, I just wanted to show that bit there. And film triggered. But yeah, bro, man.
Last words, then. We did last words.
All right.
So I want to say this. Go on. Should I go? Or
no,
go first?
Go ahead, bro. Sorry, I stopped.
To me, as I said, I'm not a practicing Christian, so I'm not coming here. I didn't come here to defend Christianity in support of Christianity over Billy Carson. That wasn't what my intention was. There's a couple of points I took from this. Number one is, if you're going to come out here boldly making statements that are so profound about someone else's belief system, you better have your sources in order. You cannot be in a situation where you're debunked in 5 seconds. You cannot be in a position where your whole ideology is debunked in 5 seconds. That tells me that you did surface knowledge, not even surface knowledge. You maybe heard some things. You didn't read anything. You literally must have heard something and said, "Oh, I'm going to regurgitate this. I'm not actually going to even do any research or reading to substantiate my point." So that's the first thing I took from that. So that's a lesson I'm going to take from that. If I have a strong conviction, I better do the research. Let me go to the library. Let me get those quotes. Let me go back to uni days where you had references and you knew what you could reference stuff. That's the first thing. Number two, if you believe something, don't always the need to debunk or tarnish or to disrespect another person's belief system is not needed. If you want to believe a certain thing, you believe that thing. The need to then come and try and tarnish another completely different philosophy just for the sake of doing it, I can't respect that either. And that's what happened with Billy Carson. He comes under the concept of gnostic, what I used to call right knowledge, the Malachi Z. York stuff with the Anunnaki, the Zechariah Sitchin stuff with the Sumerian Babylonian. This is his, and I know there's Jordan Maxwell's. There's loads of people that were in that kind of in the mystery systems, but they tend to stay there. They didn't branch out to try and now debunk or ridicule other people's belief systems, and then turn around and try to make these claims that there's a massive merging or stealing of ideas that went on. There's no need to do that. You could just stay in your belief system, preach it, teach it, live it, whatever you want to do, go ahead and do that. But this idea that you have to go and besmirch another person's, this goes to show the pitfalls of that. Because when you come across someone from the other side who's learned, we saw what happened. And now to the point where you want to sue the guy now because he released it, you're embarrassed to the point you were so destroyed, you want to go to people's house at 2 o'clock in the morning and do cease and desist and talk about suing people because you were made to look like a fool. But it's all on you. Don't put that on others. Take some accountability for it, Billy Carson. Take accountability.
Take accountability. I know it's frustrating, it's difficult, but it's so simple at the same time. If you make a claim, you have to be able to back up your claim. Okay. If you haven't done the research, don't make claims. If you don't know enough about a subject, don't go out there and try and debate and try and make claims about certain things. Why? Because people are going to challenge you on it, and when they do challenge you, if you don't know what you're talking about, you will be exposed. And this is all that happened to Billy Carson. And I truly believe that Billy Carson is an intelligent guy. Make no mistake. He knew what he was doing. He knew that by going against Christianity, he was going to get some clout out of that. He knew that because that's always the go-to. Everyone always has to poke at Christianity in order to get some kind of validation. So he knew by saying crazy things like the crucifixion didn't happen, blah, blah, blah. He knew that he was going to get the attention. But for some reason, he's been ducking the smoke. He's been ducking the smoke for a very long time because we never see him in a debate. We always see him on interviews. Why? Because he knows his limitations. He knows very well what's going on. Well, his friends had enough and they set him up and they wanted to basically expose him. Okay, and this is what happened. He jumped into the lion's den and it was brutal. It was brutal. It was really brutal. And that guy could have gone harder on him. Pause. You know what I'm saying? He really could have. But Billy Carson, like as far as his reputation goes, talking about Christianity, that's gone. That's dead already. You know what I mean? That's over. No one's ever gonna take him seriously anymore. You know.
He could start trying to debunk Islam. Why do you try that for change?
Yeah. Why doesn't he try and debunk? All I see is Christians debunking Islam, for example. I never see these I don't know, these guys ever trying to debunk Islam. Why not? Billy.
I know why, but that's another topic.
Yeah, that's another one. But I mean, I personally, I know why. There's going to be violence.
Well, many Nawabians are former. For example, Malachi Z. York, who preached a lot of this stuff. Guess what he was before he was a Nawabian?
What?
A Muslim.
Huh?
A Muslim.
A Muslim? Are you serious?
By the way, it's interesting because you know that whole idea of the earth separating.
Yeah.
A big planet. You know, Native Islam teach that too.
What the whole idea of what?
the
the
Earth
water.
was a big planet, and then it crashed, and then
Yeah,
some
yeah,
parts
yeah,
of the Earth separated. The
yeah.
Nation of Islam teach something very similar too,
Oh, they teach that too. So why doesn't he
and they
mention that?
also the Nation of Islam also have this idea of grafted human beings, but they also have different. But also, so it's some of what I don't know if this is in Islam, but I know the Nation of Islam. Some of what I heard reminds me of some of the stuff I've heard from the Nation of Islam in terms of how the planet was created with the Earth. But they say it was the moon. The moon was hit, and then parts of the moon turned into Earth. And
Yeah.
that goes again with this whole Nibiru thing of this Timu planet that was hit, and then that also part of Timu turned into Earth. So it's very similar. But this all comes out back to Babylon. This is the Babylonian belief that has been
This is about
filtered
yeah,
from.
yeah, yeah. Because I've had debates with esoteric guys, and a lot of what they talk about, whenever they talk about the creation story, for example, they talk about how different races were created, and only one race is supposed to be the superior race. And I'm starting to see the similarities now,
Relation, yeah.
between these Babylonian philosophies and ideologies.
Sumer,
Yeah.
they call it Sumerian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's becoming the part of the New Age, the New Age religions. But the New Age religions are basically based on this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It makes sense now. It makes sense now.
No, it's Hinduism too, by the way. The most modern version of it will probably be Hinduism or Buddhism.
So basically, the New Age religion is basically made up of Satan's greatest hits from way back.
You used to say that. Guys said Satan's greatest hits. Yeah. From your point of view, yes. From your ideology, absolutely would be that.
Okay. So basically, yeah, it's Satan's greatest hits. That's what that is. Okay, guys.
Well, you can look at the Tower of Babel. Look at the Tower of Babel and what was the aim of the Tower of Babel. That was in Babylon.
And the Bible speaks out against them as well. That's a funny thing.
Well, the first, remember, in the Bible, the first human being that turned against God and tried to turn people against God was a man called Nimrod.
Yes,
Nimrod is the grandson of Cush, by the way, and he was a ruler in Babylon, the first world ruler, by the way. And he built the Tower of Babel, and that was in defiance of God. So the Bible says, and this is the biblical account I'm giving. So a lot of this defiance against God and this whole idea of just create our own thing, a lot of it is attributed to modern day Iran or Iraq, which is Babylon.
Oh wow! How many Christian denominations?
By the way, Saddam Hussein is that he was a descendant of Nimrod and Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar also another guy that was a Babylonian.
Nebuchadnezzar, yeah, that's another guy. Yeah. Bro, we need to do a show on
this. The ship in the name of the ship in the Matrix is a Nebuchadnezzar.
Wow!
Don't get me started. You know you don't want to get me started on that stuff.
Coincidence? I don't think so. Marcel, just to answer your question there, Marcel, you need to really look it up, mate. But if you're going to talk about how many denominations there are, you're obviously these guys, man, they lack knowledge. Okay, there's only really three main denominations. You got the Coptics, Catholics, Protestants, Orthodox. So you got the Orthodox, Catholics, and Coptics. This is what you know. I mean, when you're talking about the Protestants, there are many sects within the Protestant world. That's what you're talking about. Okay, listen.
There's very different sects of Islam. There's very different sects of Islam. If you really understand Islam, there's loads of different sects. Not
you have no idea.
The Sunni and Shia. There's way different.
They tried to say that there's only two. But all the different denominations are actually regarded as school of thoughts. So look it up because there's over 73. There's loads of them. But go and look it up. Do some research, guys. Do some research. You know what I mean? Don't talk about these things if you don't know what you're talking about. Don't be a Billy Carson. You know what I mean? You know what happened to Billy Carson. You know what I'm saying? You don't want that to happen to you. So
I know it's definitely three. The Sunni, Shia, and there's the Ibani as well. There's literally three major ones.
There's loads.
There's Sufism as well as another one.
Yeah. There's no, but that's what I'm saying. This is like a something that you can just Google, but there's loads, bro. But a lot of people tend to think, oh, there's loads of sects. No, these sects that you're seeing, okay, it's within the Protestant group. That's it. But mainly it's Catholics, the Coptic, that's the Ethiopians, and then there's the Orthodox. That's the main ancient churches. Protestants just came after the 1500s. You know what I'm saying? Like, and no wonder why Protestants give a bad name to Christianity, because they really do. But like I said, guys, if you want to debate me on Catholicism, please shout me. Solution Podcast Official at gmail.com. All right. But anyways, guys, we're gonna call it a day. This has been a great live. Want to say thanks to Jean-Michel again, my co-host. He structured the entire thing, and wow, this is going to be really informative because we took it back. We showed you where he's getting these ideas from, where all of this came from, why he thinks the way he thinks, why he's saying the things that he's saying. So we actually broke.
And more importantly, why it is you cannot compare Babylonian teachings with the teachings of we could say Christianity, but the Judeo-Christian belief system, you cannot compare that with Babylonian teachings. They're separate. One, they grew separately. They were in complete opposition to each other. Okay, but so this idea that they merged together or they were copying each other is rubbish.
And for you guys to know that, you have to open up a book. All right?
Yeah.
That's the only way you're going to find this out. You have to actually open up the book and read, okay? Use the YouTube for references. Just use that for referencing. Write it down and then go out there, get yourself a Kindle. Okay, go on Amazon.
Don't do a Billy Carson.
Yeah, don't be a Billy Carson. You know what I mean? You know what happened to Billy Carson. Don't be a Billy Carson. You know, be smart, be intelligent, avoid being a Billy Carson.
That's going to be a meme now, bro. That's going to be a meme now. Don't do a Billy Carson. That's going to be a meme. Don't do a Billy Carson. Every time a guy falls off, every time a guy comes with some stupid knowledge or bad scholarship, don't do a Billy Carson.
Don't do a Billy Carson. Yo, bro. Yo, that's going to be a meme. I need to check out the memes, you know. Don't do a Billy Carson, guys. Yeah. That's what I should have called the damn thumbnail. Anyways, guys, peace to all of you guys. Love everyone. But yeah, peace, guys. Take care. Until next time.
Take care, people.